darling Kiana, and welcome back to my channel. As you guys can see from the title of this video, we are going to be doing my 7 favorite reads of 2021. I don't think I did anything like this last year, so this will be my first year doing my favorite reads and my least favorite reads. I think the way that I have them stacked right now will show like least favorite to favorite. I still enjoyed all of these, but like how I am going to show them in this video I think is like ranked enough. The last one is obviously going to be my most favorite read of this year, so let's just go ahead and get started with this video. So one of my first favorites, I literally just finished it this month, and it is This Coven Won't Break by Isabella Sterling. This is the second and final book in These Witches Don't Burn. So in the first one, we found a girl named Hannah Walsh, and she is an elemental witch. There's 3 types of witches in this world. Elemental, which messes with earth, wind, water, and fire. You have blood witches, which are in this world known as the evil witches, and then you have caster witches, who just focus on potion and spells and all of that. Hannah believes someone is after the witches, someone is trying to set them up, trying to capture them, and she is right. Witch hunters have come back after almost 1,000 years and is now trying to take out all the witches, try to make them normal, try to make them human, because they feel that they are evil to this world and don't belong here. I love the first one, but I feel like I love the second one more, because in the first one, we see Hannah as this naive girl who is trying really hard to be spoken up for, but nobody really wants to believe her, because who wants to believe someone's hunting you? In this one, we see her grow. We see her come to terms with her father's death. We see her come to terms with being hunted by a witch, almost losing her powers, and now being the like face of this almost revolution. Absolutely love this. Gave this 5 out of 5 stars. Highly recommend this series. My next favorite book of the year is 99 Days by Katie Cotigno. This is literally told in day form, and we follow a girl named Julia Donnelly, we follow a girl named Molly, and Molly a year and a half ago fell in love with 2 brothers. She was dating one, and she fell in love with the other older brother, and they had a secret relationship, almost like the Vampire Diaries. And then when she confesses to her mom, because she was able to hide it for so long, but then when the guilt starts coming up to her and she can't quite handle it anymore, and she confesses it to her mom writes a book about it. And when the book comes out, that's when everyone finds out basically what a whore Molly is. And Molly goes away for a year, and she comes back for the summer, and she's trying to hide from everyone, but she can't. And so when she comes back, it's basically called 99 Days, because that's how long she is in town. And it's basically it all over again. Her going back and forth between Gabe and Patrick, the 2 brothers. I absolutely loved it. I gave this again a 5 out of 5 stars. I think I loved it so much because it reminded me of the Elena, Damon, and Stefan story from Vampire Diaries. I think that's why I loved it. But yes, I give this 5 out of 5 stars. There is a sequel to it called 9 Days and 9 Nights is what I believe. And it's basically Molly meets up with one of the brothers again, but they're in Paris, I think, for the summer. And I need to read it. But I absolutely love this. This was my first Katie Cotigno book. And yeah, like I said, 5 out of 5 stars. My third favorite of this year is All the Stars and Teeth by Adeline Grace. This is the first book in the duology. This is the Owl Crate edition. So in this book, we follow a girl named Amora, and she is the princess of the 7 islands, and she is next in line to take over the throne. And in order for her, like the ruling family, to be taken over the throne, they have this power called the Master of Souls, and that's what she's been trained her entire life to be. But in order to pass, for her to finally be known as her father's heir, she has to pass the trial. And during the trial, of course, everything goes bad. She basically kills the guy when she's not supposed to. She's just supposed to like be able to take his blood or his bone, and she's able to get the truth out of him. So when that happens, she just automatically flees. They take her to the dungeon, someone comes, someone like breaks her out, and she flees. And she basically travels to points of, you know, the 7 islands that, her parents rule, and there she finds out, everything's not so bright and dandy like her father is saying. Something's wrong with the islands. The islands are revolting against her father and her family for the first time in over like 100 years. I loved it. I think it was like having to do with the sea, Amora herself. I tabbed it up. Absolutely love this book. I have the second book. I need to read the second book, but I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. The magic and how Adeline was able to just have such the magic work all together with all the seas. So you have the Armors of the Death, the people who do healing, like you can cut his hand off and he grows back his hand. You have the people who deal with the medicine, you have the people who deal with the food and the agriculture, and it was amazing. 5 out of 5 stars. I can't wait to read the second book. My next favorite is The Box in the Wood by Maureen Johnson. This is the 4th book in the Truly Devious series. So in the first book, Truly Devious, we meet a girl named Stephanie who is obsessed with crime novels. And there was this murder that happened back in the 1920s where the founder of this school, his wife and daughter get kidnapped. The wife gets murdered. The wife's body's found, but the daughter is never found. She's presumed dead. And so then Stephanie gets invited into the school with the promise of her basically finding out who did it, where's the money now, and why is somebody hiding it for so long. Absolutely loved it. So in this one, after Stephanie solves it, she's invited by someone who owns the Box in the Woods to solve a 1970s murder of 4 camp counselors going out into the woods basically to smoke pot, and they end up getting murdered, and no one is able to find out who did it or why they did it or why could this happen in such a small town in such a short time. So it took Stephanie to solve the first murder, I think a year and a half, and it took her literally like 2 weeks to solve this. And I love how her mind works. I love her friendships with Janelle and Nate, and the way Maureen Johnson can make you seem like you're there in the 70s when the first murder was happening, and then you can see how she's putting the puzzle pieces together. It's just so amazing. 5 out of 5 stars. I hope we get more stories from Stephanie and maybe from Janelle and Nate as well with this series. The next book that I love, I will link all my book reviews up, but it is A House of Salt and Sorrow by Erin A. Craig. And this is basically a spooky retelling of the 12 Dancing Princesses. So we follow a girl named Anna Lee, and she has lived such a sheltered life on the high moor. She believes her family is doomed when her mother dies a couple months after giving birth to her youngest sister. And then, so in their world, you have to mourn for 6 months. Once they're getting close to the ending of mourning their mother, the first older sister is found dead. Then the second one is found dead after falling off a ladder in the library. Then the third sister is dead in the bathtub. They believe she drowned herself. And then in the beginning of this story, the fourth sister is found dead at the bottom of a cliff. Everyone wants to move on and not be in mourning anymore. They've been in mourning for so long, for so many years. But Anna Lee feels that it is betraying their sister, but betraying their mother, and something's going wrong. They have a stepmother. The stepmother is pregnant with 2 twin boys, and she believes her boys will take over and be like the dukes of this land, but that's not how it goes in the world. Whoever is the firstborn, no matter the gender, will inherit, which is one of Anna Lee's older sisters. Her younger sister Verity starts to draw these creepy drawings of her sisters as ghosts. So Anna Lee is now believing they are haunted, they are being like trapped by their sisters for not mourning them properly. And then we get, you know, the actual 12 Dancing Princess, that they go out to the gardens, they find this magical place that takes them, and you know, they're dancing, which is what they want because they want to be married, but everyone believes that they're cursed, so nobody will go near them. But it's not true. It's demons, people making deals with the devil. Absolutely loved it. If you have not read this, I highly recommend it. Again, 5 out of 5 stars. I did just read this book as well this month, and that is Lore Olympus Volume 1 by Rachel Smith. I did download like where it all comes from. This is basically a almost modern retelling of Hades and Persephone, but drawn in comic book form. So Persephone, or Core, is this naive 19-year-old girl who is finally released from her mother in the mortal realm to go to Olympus. She lives with Artemis with the deal of becoming a maiden goddess. She, at a party, pisses off Aphrodite, as the actual telling goes that Hades says Persephone has nothing against Aphrodite. Aphrodite has her son kidnap Persephone and loads her drunk into the, well, not drunk, but like drugged into Hades' car. And it's just in this volume going back and forth with Hades being like, you know, he wants her, but she's so young, she can't have her, and all that. I really did love this. I can't wait for the next volumes to come out. And like, I'm trying to read them on like the webtoons, but I can't. I want it physically in my hands. Loved it. 5 out of 5 stars. And then my all-time favorite of 2021 is These Violence Delights by Chloe Gong. This is the Owl Crate exclusive edition. And this is basically a 1920s retelling of Romeo and Juliet with gangs. So, of course, we have Juliet, who is the daughter of the Scarlet Gang, Juliet Kai. And then you have Roma, who is, of course, Romeo. And he is the son of the Lotus Flower. And they are all at war with each other. And in this world, there is this disease going around that it gets you in the head and it kills you, like, you know, a modern Romeo and Juliet retelling. I loved how we actually get to feel like we're there in the 1920s. You get the gang violence of, well, they did this, so we have to retaliate with this. And oh my god, I loved it so much. I do have the second book, Our Violet Ends, that is going to be on my January TBR, and I anticipate that's going to be one of my favorite books of 2022. I loved how Chloe wrote everything. This was honestly one of my favorites, and I cannot wait to see how she wraps everything up. So those are all of my 7 favorite reads of 2021. I'll be leaving here 2 videos you guys should go check out. I try really hard to post twice a week, and I will hopefully see you guys very soon with another video. Bye, guys.